Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for February 28th, 2013. It's currently 7:30 a.m. We have temperatures throughout the region ranging from the mid to upper 30s over the northern interior and upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. We have some overcast skies, winds light and variable for the most part over the New York City metropolitan area, and from the west around the Philadelphia metropolitan area around 5 miles per hour. And we do have a few scattered showers here and there, rotating around a strong upper level low. Temperatures today will rebound nicely into the mid to upper 40s over the interior and upper 40s to lower 50s along the coast, making for temperatures running slightly above normal for this time of year. So aside from the showers, it will be a rather comfortable day out there. Now, here's our radar. You can see around this upper level low, clearly we have showers rotating throughout the Philadelphia, New York City metropolitan area. At times, they will be capable of producing heavy downpours, as you can see over southern New Jersey, but most locations will experience just a few scattered showers at that. These showers are more associated with a strong disturbance rotating around our upper level low, which is in the St. Lawrence River Valley, and this disturbance will lift off towards the New Jersey coastal waters and remain south of Long Island. Again, a few of these showers will be capable of a heavy downpour, but otherwise not that big of an impact. Taking a look at the latest infrared satellite picture, you can clearly see our upper level low spinning over Lake Ontario, lifting up towards the Canadian Maritimes by this evening. Here's what's left of our coastal low. Notice that our primary or strongest low pressure system is still focused over the interior, over Lake Ontario. So it really never transferred over to the coast, and this clearly set up a changeover to rain over the northern mid-Atlantic, even over the interior yesterday morning, which saved many locations from the worst potential of icing. Otherwise, though, with temperatures rising above freezing today and remaining above freezing, most of the snow and ice that did fall yesterday will melt away. So what's expected for the rest of the week? Well, really not all that much. And take a look at the water vapor satellite picture. We have a rather progressive weather pattern starting to develop. Yes, we do have some high latitude blocking over the northern Atlantic, but this is starting to shift more towards the north and east and starting to break down a bit. Here's our upper level low, and we know that this is starting to break down because this upper level low is going to be able to lift up towards the Canadian Maritimes. So this exits out, and what's falling behind it is just disturbance after disturbance into the west coast, but these disturbances are weakening and falling apart. So for the most part, we're going to be dealing with high pressure and control throughout much of the region, should I say, for this weekend into early next week. And then there's a storm that develops over the southeast coast. But as you can see with this pattern, see when you see this jet like this, anytime you see this setting up over the west coast here, any idea or any suggestion that you're going to see a change in the weather pattern where it would support a storm running up the coast, well, that's kind of hard to do when you have a screaming Pacific jet running right into California because it shifts the whole pattern east. So you can't have a storm dig and then lift northeast. It has to be forced out into the Atlantic. So now we know that. Let's take a look at the latest European model guidance, which has changed, as I was suggesting. I had a long discussion about this with my premium members, explaining why we'll likely see a shift in the European model guidance away from the major storm impact that was seen in the model guidance yesterday. So here we are for this evening. Again, here's our upper level low, shifting towards the Atlantic. Drying conditions slowly taking place as we're on the backside of this upper level low now. So look for showers to dissipate and break apart. Remain cool for the most part, running for the end of this week into the weekend. Temperatures basically in the mid 40s for many locations throughout this weekend. However, we do remain dry, so that's one good thing. So we're going to be in between these disturbances. The upper level low over the Canadian Maritimes sits in place. Disturbances with the subtropical jet stream remain well to the south, so we're kind of in between with scattered cloud cover, high pressure loosely in control, winds light and variable. So we'll deal with this scattered to variable cloud cover and temperatures basically in the 40s, mid 40s, upper 40s, somewhere in that location there. But basically a very quiet weekend, overcast but quiet. So that's going to continue on through the weekend and into early next week. Now here's our disturbance here that everyone's kind of keeping an eye on. But notice what we have out here. Disturbance after disturbance moving into the west coast. So moving forward in time, everyone keeps an eye on this and they say, oh wow, there could be a big storm here. And yes, we do have some marginally cold air set up over the northern mid-Atlantic. The problem is this right here. You see this disturbance right here? When you have a trough in the west, very basic idea here. Trough in the west is bad news if you're looking for a winter storm for the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. Why? Well, by the time we get to, let's say, Wednesday evening, look what we have here. We have our ridge over the upper Midwest and over the northern plains and western Great Lakes. There has never been a case where you have a big trough in the west, a big ridge over the central plains, and a storm that is able to shoot up the east coast, because the whole weather pattern is all thrown off. Now, what you could have is an upper level low that sets up right over the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. That is possible. But considering everything we're seeing in front of us and considering the way that the polar jet stream is setting up here as well, which is basically separated from the subtropical jet stream. So this is a split pattern here. You can see that here clearly. You have a situation here where this is suppressing the storm and keeping it south because the wavelengths are all wrong. So clearly, we're moving in a direction where cold air is being funneled down towards the southern mid-Atlantic that will likely produce a rather interesting storm for portions of Virginia and North Carolina. How much snow? No idea. We still don't know the thermodynamics in the atmosphere as far as how cold it's actually going to get. And there's plenty of things that could throw a monkey wrench into that forecast as well. But this pattern overall, the wavelengths of the 500 millibar pattern that is setting up now and continuing on through next week, just does not support a winter storm moving up the mid-Atlantic coast. And there's a reason why the European model guidance has went from a major winter storm that was kind of shown yesterday morning on the 0Z guidance about 24 hours ago. But if you look at the low levels of the atmosphere, clearly it was either rain or very wet snow. I know some people put out snow maps, but in reality, it's kind of hard to accumulate snow when your surface temperatures are in the mid to upper 30s. But anyway, this shift happened in the model guidance, not because the models were trending, but because the models picked up on that strong jet streak running into the west coast. And so you end up with a reasonable solution where this storm has to head due east. And so it remains suppressed south of the northern mid-Atlantic. And we continue on with a more of a zonal type pattern setting up over much of the United States. We have an upper level low, should I say, trying to cut off over the southwest. But notice we start to get basically the zonal pattern starting to set up here. And that's going to lead to warmer temperatures. And yes, look at the date here, March 10th. And you can see all the cold air, all the Arctic air starting to get suppressed and pushed back up in the Arctic. We end up with a more of a zonal pattern here. And our temperatures rebounding into the lower to mid 50s by next weekend. So, looks like spring is on the way, just as I was expecting. That is the forecast discussion for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. And of course, to become a premium member, it's only $10 a month to get the latest analysis on what to expect going forward. Have a great day. Stay safe out there.